I had a client 2 weeks ago. He wrote a post the following day and he made 5 sales. At the end of the week, he left me a testimonial. He said, you made me go from 10K month to 10K week. So that there is this kind of moment that is not necessarily, you can't really see it, but the way he start writing is different. The way that he or she are showing up is different.
This is the Reframe Your Journey podcast, because we know you can go further and faster together. It doesn't have to be a guessing game. Each session, we'll be getting into advice and tactical tools centered around the 3 S's of strategy, systems, and long-term success. I'm Greg Ryder, entrepreneur, course creator, and coach. Let's dive in. My guest this week is an absolute shining beacon of positive energy to others. In her journey of transitioning from running large agency teams in London to leaning into her coaching background, she now guides her clients in leveling up and stepping into their bigger vision and living a purposeful life. She truly has a deep understanding in the power of connection with others and the reconnection with ourselves. Let's dig in and welcome Geraldine Spurway. Hi, Geraldine. Welcome to the Reframe series podcast, where we are speaking to entrepreneurs all over the globe, sharing impactful stories and making a difference, especially on the LinkedIn platform like you are, and just helping so many people. Welcome. So happy to have you here. How are you?
I'm great, Greg. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Love it. Where are we speaking to you from today? Where are you at?
So I'm currently in London. I'm still in London for another 2 months, and then I'll be in France.
Nice. I could tell from your post that you spend a fair bit of time in France, one of my favorite places to visit.
Yeah. I try to travel there as much as I can. I've got clients there, so it gives me a nice balance, to be honest.
Well, I'm going to share a couple posts of yours today. But before we do that, I'm not going to dig too far back. There's a sports show in North America here called TSN, and they always have this during the game, a TSN turning point, where the momentum changes, everything changes. Geraldine, maybe you can share a little bit. I know you worked in the digital space, a digital agency space, I think maybe between London and Paris, if I'm correct, but maybe you can share what your turning point was from working for others to feeling like there might be something more and starting to work for yourself, or what was that like for you?
So I used to run the sales and marketing department of big agencies in London, and I absolutely loved my job. I loved my job. I had the best team ever. I had the best client. I was working from 8 till around 5 in the agency. Then I would pick up my daughter, become a mom, put her to bed, and then work again until midnight. The old myth of you can't reach your team after 9 was not available for me. So I would keep working and working. And I was doing extremely well, landing amazing deal. And then the bonus arrived. And when I saw my bonus, I was like, what is that? And then I went to see the CEO and I said, there must be a 0 missing. There is something really off. And at that moment, they told me, oh, no, but you're only getting the money based on, you're only getting your money, your bonus, not based on your revenue, your sales, but based on who client has paid. And I said, well, surely that can't be the case, because that's not my job. This is the CFO. Right. And as far as I'm concerned, I've hit my target. Yeah, well, no, da. And at the moment in time, I realized I had worked like a lunatic. I didn't see my daughter growing for a bonus that was completely insignificant. And I was walking back on my way home and I was like, oh my gosh, something needs to change. And there were a couple of conversations in and there, and I had qualified as a coach 5 years before that with the ICF, and I never wanted to set up my business. That was never my intention. I just wanted to coach better within organization. But at that moment, I was like, I don't think I can keep going. And I made a decision, and I quit.
Wow. What a specific moment that you can still recall all these years later for you. I had a conversation just the other day with somebody, but I always had this thought, when you hit that level, like an executive level, or you're working that hard, like everything would change, or you'd be recognized and, more autonomy, more flexibility, but it really wasn't the case. Or is it? You reach those levels and it takes something to happen like that for you to realize, well, this isn't exactly what I thought was going on here.
Yeah, and I think essentially for women at that level of seniority, I think it's really hard because in the boardroom, there's only men. And I remember this awkward moment where I would get into the boardroom and people were talking about the last football match on, whatever subject I had no interest in, and no one would stop speaking, and I would wait forever and forever before I was able to speak. And I felt that is really wrong, that we can't really be ourselves within the boardroom, etc. And then when I would leave at 5 o'clock to pick up my daughter, because that was the agreement, I would get the odd eye, oh, you're part-time. Well, I'm not. I wake up at 5 to work, I work after 9. And so you realize you work around the clock, and you leave your family on the side, you have no social life. And yeah, at some point you're just like, is this really what it means to be at the top? Like, to have no life? And this is what I felt. I thought, I have no life. I'm only working for the company. And so at that moment I thought, oh, it can't be it. Surely there's something better.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, we have a lot of work to do still. I do think the tides are changing a bit, and we'll see where it goes with people recognizing this, especially over the last 2-3 years, right? With the pandemic that hit, and people doing a lot more self-reflection and realization that there has to be some more. I know we had a lot in common, which is also why I was excited to connect to you and reach out and have this conversation. I'm going to share a post. Let's get started here, because you know what? From our first initial conversation, I felt this energy from you on this call. Just a people person and reciprocal energy. This post here, Geraldine, talks actually about initially with the photographer you work with.
Yeah.
But what I love about this is how you perceive the creative process in the branding and the work you do. It's a statement. It's a declaration, a revolution, a print in the sand, and exposing one's true self. I absolutely love the way that you talk about the person coming alive, and when they finally do, your people will feel it and they will find you. Can you share a little bit about this and what you see when people kind of come to life when you work with them? Like, where do you see that magic? Where's that intersection?
So the people who come to me are already successful. I work with people who have a certain level of success, but they are at a turning point. Either they've lost something, for example, marriage, that they lost their father. There's always some sort of loss, or either they are comfortable, but they want to reach the next level, and they feel something is missing. So there's something missing. And when they come to me, most of them actually have no idea what I do, because I don't really talk about what I do. I write a lot, but it's not very explicit what I do. I combine energy work with mindset work, with pure strategy, but I never talk about it. So they come to me and they're just like, I don't really know why, but I know I need to work with you, that there's something here that's pulling me towards you, and we work together. And the thing that happens most of the time is that these people have some sort of introverted side. They're not introvert, that they somehow are, that they are all as if they had a shield over them, right? And because I'm a psychic and I channel, many things. I see, I get under the skin and I see what's holding them back. And so when I start channeling and I literally tell them the truth of what's really missing for them to really step into their higher self, step into their bigger vision, it feels like a light bulb moment. I had a client 2 weeks ago who literally, we did an activation and literally had tears rolling down, and he said, seriously, I need to thank you. That was beautiful. It was just amazing. And then he wrote a post the following day and he made 5 sales. And then at the end of the week, he left me a testimonial. He said, you made me go from 10K month to 10K week. And it's just that So that there is this kind of moment that is not necessarily, you can't really hear it, but the way he start writing is different. The way that he or she are showing up is different. So there is that moment, and then there is the photo shoot moment, because I do a lot of photo shoot with my clients, and usually it's at the end of the personal branding mentoring that I do with them. And I'm really pushy in the kind of photo shoot that I do, in the sense that I completely restyle them. I do all the styling, I push them beyond what they think they can do. And so at the very beginning of the photo shoot, they're a little bit shy. And at the end, it's usually 3 hours, we get into the sassiness, into the sexy vibe, and sexy, like, very connecting with the sassiness, the side of them that they didn't know they had, but they had. And the minute it comes up, they just don't want the shoot to finish. They're just like, and a lot of them are telling me, the photo shoot with you is just not like a photo shoot, it's like a healing process. There is when they see themselves, they're just like, is that really me? Yeah, because we don't touch the picture. This is you. This is really you. And that allow them, suddenly it's like oh my gosh, this is me. I can take that space. I am ready to step up. I am ready to show up. And that is really beautiful to see them shining. I just really love it.
Yeah, what a great connection point too. Like, to be in person and seeing them through this process.
Yeah.
It's like an unveiling, and you're speaking to me as somebody too, like naturally introverted, naturally quiet, kind of always have this protector shield on. So I can see how, that process can really make a big impact for how they show up moving forward. It's super impactful. I got a question for you on that, because we do so much of this now digitally on Zoom, these Zoom meetings and things like, my strength I always found was in person. Let's go for a coffee talk. Let's go for a walk, that sort of thing. And now that we've been out of the office, I know in my company, remote for 3 years now or whatever, I feel a little loss of that. I can do a virtual coffee, great conversation, but there's a little bit of magic lost. How about you in these virtual calls? Like, do you find them energizing? Do you find them draining? Like, I understand, and we'll talk a little bit more about the retreat work you do, but how do you bring that to the digital space?
So I think I still enjoy my Zoom call. I know a lot of people say, oh my gosh, the Zoom call, oh my gosh, Instagram, oh my gosh, LinkedIn. And I jump on a call and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I get to speak to someone in Canada. Yeah. What is the magic about that? I'm in London, in Canada. What are the odds that I bump into you into a coffee shop, that you look at me, if I talk to you, just like, what does she want? Or if you speak to me, what does he want? It would be never, So I think from my perspective, energy is my strategy. And when people meet me, they're just like, oh, because, and it's literally everything that I do it with intention. If I'm not feeling it, I would never lie. I literally message someone and be like, I'm so sorry. I'm being, to cancel last minute. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling good. If something came up, I won't be able to honor the space. Is that possible to reschedule? And usually, instead of lying and say, oh, it's, they enjoy that. So for me, I manage the energy online by, first of all, not allowing for too many. There's never going to be more than 5 Zoom calls, including my client call in a week. With my own client, when they are in London, we do Zoom call and we do face-to-face call. And obviously, face-to-face call is taking a lot more of my time, because it means that I need to travel to that place. And when they are with me, they never want to leave. So it's not an hour, it ends up being an hour and a half. But you know what? I think it's very important, because we're in a sphere that for 2 years we've been locked in. And I just feel it could happen again tomorrow. And I just never want to be in a position that I've said to myself, oh my gosh, I missed this opportunity. So the way I manage the energy online is by always showing up with intention, always being like, I'm so lucky to speak to that person who is not in the same city, and actually not even to move from my rooms. And the second thing is by not putting too many in the, in the week. Right. And the third thing is by limiting the time. Like after an hour, I'm done. My attention is physically, I need a break. So, all this ongoing conversation, even in my mastermind, I usually tell them, it's never going to be more than 2 hours because you're going to be drained. I'm going to be drained. You're going to be scrolling through your phone, and it's going to be not very profitable for anyone. So yeah.
Right. That attention span and ability to focus for that long. I love 90-minute sprints, even with my work. Like, I know if I focus for 90 minutes, I need a break. Like that's what I get. Very helpful tips there in managing that because of the work you do and the energy management and consciousness around it. So thank you. Very, very good practical tips there. Let's talk a little bit more about that. I'm going to share another post here. That's a great photo shoot at the end of a shoot. His testimonial, somebody can find it on your LinkedIn profile. His name is Chris, right? Yeah.
Chris O'Connell,
yes. His testimonial is amazing, by the way. So people can look you up and take a look. But this one here, this is more a post around getting away, being able to get away guilt-free, time for yourself, whether you have family, if you're a parent, that a perfect parent doesn't exist, be able to take pride in yourself and guilt-free. And this ties into the retreats you do, the in-person retreats you do. And you had a lovely picture of one of your last ones there. I don't think you guys were planning for snow, but absolutely probably made the most of it. So why the in-person retreats? Maybe you can pick that up from where we were sharing about energy, where the magic happens.
So when I set up my business, I had in mind to initially do some leadership management within organization and help men be better leaders, within mind to give women a voice. Because I said, if men know how to lead better and to hold space for women will be able to find their voice in the workplace. My first ever contract within 6 weeks of setting up my company was a corporate retreat for 22 CEO in France, all men, that I was taking on a place called Les Dunes du Pilat, so sand dunes, and a month later, COVID hit. So no retreat. No business. I was like, what am I going to do? But literally retreat because I believe in the power of connection. And when we are with people, everyone works differently. Some people are auditory, some people are kinesthetic, some people are visual. And when we are all together in the same room, I believe we can really touch point on all these senses, as opposed to just on Zoom, where some people just look at themselves actually on a Zoom call. So when the world started to slowly reopen, I realized that I was craving connection. I'm a hugger. I always touch people, and so it was difficult with COVID. We're like elbow and so the minute we started to, the world started to reopen, I went myself on a retreat. I took myself on a retreat for a week in June. A detox retreat, fasting, no eating, just hiking, a digital detox, where I needed some clarity as to the next step in my business. And when I came back, it was an evidence. I was like, I had completely forgotten what I wanted to do because of COVID. You pivot your business and you go where the wind takes you. And by going for a week solo, fasting, not eating, hiking, and everything, I got some very high level clarity. And I said to myself, that's it. You are going to do what you said you were doing. You're going to create in-person retreat. So this one was in the Pyrenees, was not supposed to snow. I was not equipped at all. The people who I was doing it with were like, oh, don't worry, it's sunny. And then I got there, I had a pair of jeans, trainers, hiking shoes, but not. And then there was some high spike things. So we were jumping in swimming costume in the cold, iced water, but it was not supposed to snow. So it was but it was amazing. And the next one is actually going to be, I'm doing one on the 10th of June down the beach. It's a day retreat. And then I'm going to do one in September for 5 days in Greece. And it's all going to be about reconnecting with your 5 senses. And for me, it's very important because I think we lost touch with who we are. And these retreats are not business retreats. We can speak business if you want at dinner, but it's more, who are you? What is a part of you that you forget on a daily basis, or that you forgot to reconnect with? I want everyone to feel after my retreat that they have ignited this fire within themselves, that they are able to move forward. That's something, there's been a shift and activation. So this is what it is for.
Nice. And we can all use that. I mean, a lot happens in a given year. There's so many ups and downs. I think life happens, right? Like you said, there's a loss, there's a challenge, things that happen that can really start to block us mentally or really hold us back. So I think what you're saying about that activation and that, reigniting through your retreats is what a great process. What a great idea. We're all different, but we're all the same in so many ways. So, how does that relate to anybody, whether they're a content creator on LinkedIn, whether they're what they're after, what they're trying to pursue? What's a common theme or takeaway that you think you can share that you see from those retreats or in-person connections when they leave? Give us something to think about there.
There is a real vulnerability that's showing up. A lot of people come to these retreats not really knowing what they're here for, but a lot of them are at loss. That there is something that is their borderline. There's not a lot of people who come to retreat feeling excited, pumped up, and most of them, there is a need for slowing down, a need for being taken care of, a need for switching off completely. And the first day, they all want to check the phone, but actually there's not a lot of time to check your phone. So they realize that actually nothing is going to explode. It's just about reconnecting with who you are. And there's vulnerability showing up. There's a big sense of clarity, in a sense that they come back and they don't want to live the same life. I had people turning vegan after retreat and be like, oh, I want to see if I can sustain that. Not eating meat. I thought I was going to die. I didn't die. My tummy is flat and I'm actually feeling super good. Some people stop alcohol because we don't serve alcohol, That's not to say I want to retreat in Spain where we go crazy, but that's not what I'm doing right now. And some people want to run retreats. It's just, I want to run retreat as well. And some people get a level of clarity in their business and realize, actually, I need to let that go. Because during my retreat, I do a lot of hypno breath work, which fire the neural pathway and get you to really tap into your subconscious mind and really guide you into uncovering where you're supposed to go when you're not conscious. When you're conscious, it's always directed decision. But when you really let your mind wander, where is it that you're supposed to go? And because I get them to journal a lot and write everything down, when they leave, they're just like, okay, this is what I said I would be doing. So am I going to be on track? So it's quite beautiful, actually.
Really is powerful, really. And
yeah, it is.
We live such busy lives, right, Geraldine? And I know for me, sometimes if I'm going to get away, it does take 1, 2, almost 3 days to kind of fully exhale and let go of everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, I could sit out in a boat in the middle of the lake and eventually I'm going to get some good clarity, but it takes time. You can show up somewhere and you're focused on taking pictures, or you're focused on, should I send this photo? Like, so many things race through our head. So I love that you're facilitating that and creating that environment for people to get to that spot. Super impactful. Thanks for showing up today and sharing with us. It's amazing. People can look you up where? thespurway.com, on your website or on LinkedIn. Obviously, you're making quite an impact there. What's the best way for people to look you up, Geraldine?
So I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Don't ask me what I'm doing on TikTok. I'm there, but I'm not really check on it. Under Geraldine Spurway, and there's my website, thespurway.com, but it's a little bit obsolete. I need to rebrand, so you'll find a lot of info, but not all up to speed. But the retreat should be there very soon as well. But yeah, usually it's LinkedIn or Instagram.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Have a great rest of your day, Geraldine.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Be sure to check the show notes for a recap of the lessons so you can reference them as you look to apply them to your journey. Please be sure to subscribe, give it a like, and a comment. It is very much appreciated. Have a great day, a great week, and let's go and grow.